Ken Trahan with Lenny Van Gilder. It's our First NBC Bank weekend preview brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout southeast Louisiana and into the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. Well, the New Orleans Pelicans just continue their trend, play well for a while, just turn it on in the last 6 minutes and watch them lose, I guess.
All right, I'm here to declare the season is now over.
It's over. I mean,
it's over.
It's been over, man.
It probably has been. I've been one to hold out hope to think they had a potential run in them, just based on the fact that you had the type of personnel that could still do some things, schedule playing out maybe the way you wanted it to. It's not happening.
No.
All right. And look, if the Wednesday night and Thursday night is at the end of the day going to be a snapshot of what this season was all about. Just like you said, play well. Put yourself in a position to win. Can't close it out. Houston set an NBA record for futility in shooting three-point field goals.
Make one.
And still won the game. That's what they do. They shoot threes. They couldn't make threes, and they still won the game. Okay? San Antonio, has got maybe the best player in the league, not named Steph or LeBron, in Kawhi Leonard. A lot of people don't know about him out there unless you follow the game, but he showed you why in the fourth quarter Thursday night. And, unfortunately, while we've seen Anthony Davis do that once in a while, he doesn't do it quite to that kind of level. And, he had to leave the game for a little while last night to get stitches, but, did come back in. Well, it's frustrating to watch. It really is. But, like I said, while I've held out hope, I'm here to proclaim it is now over.
Now, I've been saying that for a while, even though I want them to succeed. But it is. There's no question. And now you have to blow it up. Basically, I mean, they still got, 20 games left or so, but you just have to blow it up. You keep Anthony Davis, you keep Drew Holiday, and to me, everybody else is on the table.
Well, Eric Gordon and Ryan Anderson have expiring contracts.
Right. So
what do you do with Tyreek Evans, with Omer Ashik, with some of these other guys who some of these other bit players that are out there? We will see. We got a lot of time to discuss that before next fall and winter. But as of now, you play out the string, if you will, starting with Saturday night at home against Utah before they go on the road for a while.
Sticking with basketball, LSU, I've seen them anywhere from as high as 76 to as low as 86 in terms of RPI, the rating percentage index nationally, which is nowhere near where you need to be. They have Kentucky on Saturday. They beat them earlier this year. It was their best performance of the year. But to me, there's only two paths to the NCAA tournament for LSU. One, beat Kentucky and at least get to the finals of the SEC tournament. Or two, win the SEC tournament. Do you see it any differently?
I don't think they have to get to the finals if they beat Kentucky. I don't think they can be one and done. I think they would need to get at least to the semifinals on Saturday of the SEC tournament. So beat Kentucky, win your quarterfinal game because you'll have a double bye, and you lose in the semifinals, and that might be enough to get it done. Again, the X factor in all of this is assuming there's not a huge amount of upsets out there, because that all of a sudden shrinks the bubble. If a team, pick a team out there, somebody just completely off the radar wins a conference tournament who would not get in, that eats up a spot.
Right.
So, you got to watch for that. We see that more in a case like a sport like baseball than we do basketball. Generally, you have your 5 or 6 conferences are going to eat up the majority of the large spots, and then pretty much everything else is one bid leagues. So, but there are some notable exceptions out there. One team, if you're an LSU fan, when the Sun Belt Conference tournament comes to New Orleans next week, I'd be pulling hard for a team like Little Rock, because if Little Rock doesn't win the Sun Belt tournament, they're sitting in the 30s right now as a conference regular season champion. They have been very impressive. They could steal a bid from somebody.
Very much so. And we'll see how it goes. With regard to high school basketball, the girls' state championships being decided in Hammond. You've been reading about it at SportsNola.com. Keep doing so. And Mount Carmel goes for the 5A championship against Denham Springs Friday night. And then on Saturday, Ursuline goes for the 4A state championship. Jules Sumner, an undefeated team, going for the 3A state championship. So some local representation here and obviously some good teams.
Some very good teams. Interestingly, I just retweeted from a few weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, been a matinee of Mardi Gras week, watched Mount Carmel and Ursuline play the final game of the regular season. Who would have known that day that we'd be watching two teams that would both be playing for state championships? Certainly Mount Carmel was in that spot, to potentially be there. But Ursuline was looking at a 7-8 seed at that point. And kudos to Andrea Williams and what she's done with an incredibly young team to get them to the finals. They're going to be good for an awfully long time. They don't have a starter that's older than a sophomore.
It's a kiddie core. Jules Sumner's undefeated, and Mount Carmel's looking for a second championship in 3 years. Of course, the boys' quarterfinals taking place tonight. A lot of good matchups. Read about St. Augustine and Scotlandville as that rivalry is renewed. Two of the best programs in the state. That's in Gentilly Friday night. And, of course, we will have a live action for you in a very good 2A game. The 3rd seed Country Day hosting the 6th seed, the Rayville Hornets. You can watch it live at sportsnola.com. This should be an awfully good matchup.
It should be awfully entertaining as well. I think there's going to be some points scored in this game. This is not going to be your normal high school game that might end up in the 30s or 40s or something like that. It's going to take 80 to win this game, and even 80 might not be enough to win this game. And Rayville, reading about them, they're kind of reminiscent of the Tulane teams of the 90s with the posse, where 5 guys come off the bench and enter the game. They make a wave of substitutions, if you will.
Yeah, indeed. Football looks like the Saints are going back to West Virginia. Nothing finalized there yet, but we expected that since they had a contract, although there was some reporting to the effect that maybe they'd be coming back to New Orleans.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, camp is camp, and I'm not surprised because they did supposedly have a 3-year deal, although obviously contracts are made to be broken. With the Greenbrier, and let's see how that plays out. I think, Ed Daniels touched on it well. While the case can certainly be made to come here, you're in a facility that was built by the taxpayers of Louisiana, to practice in, and you've got an indoor facility here. It's stay near your fans. That would be the one case. But at the end of the day, that's not going to. A lot of people want to make that case. That's not going to decide whether this team is going to be successful or not successful, whether they're in West Virginia or Louisiana. It's all about the players that you have, just like Ed mentioned in his story at Sports Nola earlier this week.
And finally, college baseball. Tulane hosting Pepperdine. They always have mighty struggles with those West Coast teams, and that's a good litmus test for them coming off of a bad loss at Southeastern. UNO coming off of a tough loss at Louisiana Lafayette. They've got Pittsburgh at home this weekend, and LSU's got Fordham 3 games in 2 days.
Yeah, everybody's at home. Nice story by Will Pennegy that's up on the site today about Blake Dean and the start that UNO has had. And it's a great story, and what they've been able to do early on. See if they can keep it going. Conference play getting started for some of these teams next week, so there's not much of a honeymoon period, so to speak, leading into conference play in college baseball.
Got it. Well, that's our First NBC Bank weekend preview brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout the metropolitan New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. Have a good weekend.
See you Monday.
You have a good weekend, too. He's Lenny. I'm Kenny. God bless you.